Prize picks, underdog fantasy sports books. I got tons of plays for tonight, so let's go ahead and let's get into it. And again, I said this before, but two things to note before we get into some picks. One is when I don't have time to do a video, I'll be giving out some plays on Twitter, so you can feel free to follow me there. There will be something in the description. Hopefully, you guys can tail then immediately in real time. And then also, I'll be writing more. Just if you go to betting education on OddsJam, I'll just be writing more, kind of helpful articles. I know everyone can't sit there all day and watch YouTube videos. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. The first play we can go through is just my parlay. Pretty simple. I hit this parlay for $100 plus 256 odds. I say it all the time, but parlays, a lot of people are like, oh, parlays can't be profitable. And that's just like objectively not true. And I ride with you guys on all the plays I give out. Yesterday, we crushed it on Betway Sportsbook. We crushed it in general. But one parlay, two parlay, three parlay. The math just works. Parlay math is nothing complicated. If both of your legs are profitable, then your parlay will be profitable. So what I went with, I know I gave out this Dylan Brooks play previously, Betway Sportsbook, a sportsbook in Virginia. So again, I just, bet on the sportsbooks available to me. So in Virginia, I have 5 or so available that I'm currently using. I haven't signed up for them all. I didn't even know Golden Nugget was a sportsbook here. But what I took was this Dylan Brooks play again, and then also Troy Brown, under 14.5 PRAs. So using OddsJam is pretty simple if you're new to the site. All OddsJam does, right, is it kind of takes all of this real-time data. So this is hockey, shots on goal. So all OddsJam does, right, is it takes all this data in the market. This is literally one market for one sport. There's tons of things to bet on. There's typically 1 million plus odds updating in real time every second on OddsJam. So OddsJam just takes all that data and then shows you where the value is. And what's so beautiful about this in a weird way is there's no BS, right? You listen to these frickin' handicappers and they'll be like, oh, LeBron, him walking into the locker room, he looked, it's just it's all BS, right? Everything is reflected in market data. Unless you just think you're smarter than the sportsbooks and their $100 million models that they're constantly investing into, the amount of money sportsbooks invest into their trading technology is wild, right? If you're just watching highlights of Ja Morant and you think you can just determine if he's more likely to go over or under his point total, you're crazy. It also means you think you're smarter than the millions and millions of other people placing bets that night, because sports betting is a market. So if you're just blindly betting, ooh, Lakers point spread, you think you're smarter than the rest of the world by betting into the VIG? The way sportsbooks make money is they charge a spread called the VIG. The VIG, the juice, the VIG, the juice. You got to learn about that. So we have a no VIG fair odds calculator that I'd recommend reading about. But essentially, I'm not saying it's not possible to make money sports betting. I spend all day betting on sports, and I ride with you guys on all these plays. I mean, you can see winning streaks, losing streaks. I ride with you guys. We've been crushing it recently on Underdog Fantasy. We'll have a play today, but and I've already given out tons of plays. But regardless, it's I ride with you guys. You can make money sports betting, but the way you do it is you don't try to beat the market. You use the market. So what I mean by that is you use every sportsbook as an independent data point of where the line should be set. What's crazy about sports betting is all these sportsbooks want to be unique. They set lines independently, right? So here, Underdog, Prize Picks have this line, right? So we have the implied odds for those fantasy sites, which we've gone through before. But then you also have all these sportsbooks. Pinnacle is the sharpest bookmaker in the world. They're pricing this at minus 160. The big three U.S. sportsbooks are pricing this at minus 125, minus 140, and minus 157. Troy Brown, under 14.5 PRAs. 10-bet, minus 140. So we look at all this data, and it becomes pretty clear that, minus 111 on Betway is a play that beats the vig, beats the juice, and has a positive profit margin. Literally, the sharpest sportsbook in the world has this minus 160. We're getting like 50 cents of improvement. It's crazy. Caesars has this minus 157. So we look at all the data and we try to tease out like, yeah, that's a play we want to be on. And again, in a parlay, if both picks are positive EV and they're not correlated, so here neither bet is correlated, they're literally from different games, then your parlay will be positive. And again, if you don't believe you can make money sports betting, I highly recommend you look into arbitrage betting. Arbitrage betting means making risk-free money sports betting. So regardless, that's the first play I went with. Now let's go over to, what was I going to say? Prize Picks and Underdog Fantasy. So first I use the screen. So what's cool about this screen is it will show you, Prize Picks and Underdog are typically the first sports books to release lines. So what I like to do is just kind of scan for discrepancies. So like here you can see Miles Sanders for rushing yards, his over-under on Prize Picks is currently set at 60.5. On Underdog, it's 73.5. So that's a 13-yard discrepancy, right? Underdog hasn't posted lines yet on these three players like Kamara, Josh Jacobs. For Walker, they're 6 yards off. And then, Henry, they're 15 yards off. So being able to get Derrick Henry under 105.5 seems pretty good. And you could even middle it on Prize Picks and take the over. But what I ended up taking is I just took this under on Underdog Fantasy. And then what I also ended up taking is Tannehill. So where is that? So we may have to open up a new tab. Well, no, here it is. Look at this discrepancy. 30-yard difference, almost 28 yards in Ryan Tannehill's passing yards line. Right? Prize Picks has his OU at 215.5. Underdog at 187.5. So, you could middle it if you wanted to. You could play the under on Prize Picks, the over on Underdog, and if Tannehill had, say, 200 passing yards, you would win your over on Underdog, your under on Prize Picks. This is how sharp sports bettors think in terms of looking for value. And again, we don't win every day as a sharp bettor. Absolutely not. But the point is to show you can beat the sports books, right? Once you understand, and I do think it will be helpful if you read some of the articles I write, once you understand that all sports books do is they charge the vig, they charge the juice, there's nothing complicated going on, it becomes a lot easier to be like, yeah, I can beat the sports books. Because all you have to do is find those plays that they're screwing up 4 to 5% too much. And then you have a play that beats the vig, beats the juice, and is mathematically profitable. In other words, positive EV. And out of the, tens of thousands of odds on Underdog Fantasy, they're going to screw up every once in a while. It's your job to find those plays. Same with Prize Picks, same with the sports books. So all OddsJam does is it consolidates these millions of odds, puts them together, right? And then has a bunch of tools to show you the value. The screen is nice because it makes it really easy to see the entire market side by side and quickly go through and look for these discrepancies. Whoa, Tua's 13 yards off, right? Because great plays, they don't always last forever. So you got to think like a day trader. You got to think like a, investor. You're hunting for value. The market's always moving, right? Weather is changing in the NFL. Lines are moving. Totals are moving. Sharp actions coming in. Market's dynamic. It's open 24/7. You got to constantly be looking for good plays. So, anyways, what I ended up going with is right here. So I have a ton of plays, but I ended up playing this actually a couple times. I ended up doubling down because someone on Twitter, where I gave it out earlier, said they like it, but it's still available. Tannehill over, Henry under. I also feel like these two things should be correlated. If Henry has a big rushing game, they probably threw the ball less. I mean, that's what my gut tells me. And then this was just a positive EV play, and it's also good on Prize Picks. So I also bet this on Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, in a 3-pick or in a 5-pick flex, you're getting the implied price of minus 119. So I took Stevenson over 3.5 receptions, Caldwell Pope under 21.5 PRAs, literally as simple as finding 5 picks in bold with a circle around it. Like, you just trust the math. You're not smarter than the market. No offense. I'm not, you're not. It's really hard to be. But that doesn't mean you can't make money because all these sportsbooks have different odds. That's why I love this stuff so much, right? All these bookmakers have different odds, so you ruthlessly compare the lines and you hunt for value. And then finally, we have Cameron Payne over 3.5 assists. So those are 3 plays I found on Prize Picks for a 5-pick flex. And then I also ended up finding some shot on goal props, including Trevor Moore. See, what you'll notice here is this is how I use the screen. It's like, oh, whoa. Prize Picks has Trevor Moore's line at over under 3. Underdog has it over under 2.5, as well as all the sports books. Prize Picks is half a goal off from the market. We want to hammer that under, right? They're half a goal higher, so we want to hit the under. They're giving you way too much value on the under. Underdog has the under 2.5 at minus 122 implied odds. We can get under 3 where we're pushing. If Trevor Moore has exactly 3 goals, we're pushing. And again, like, these spots of value, they may not seem like a big deal, but in the long run, this is all that matters. In terms of being profitable versus unprofitable, this is what matters. And then the final play I went with is right here, Drew Doughty. You can see, once again, they're half a goal off from underdog, 1 away from the rest of the sports betting market. So what I ended up going with on Prize Picks is right here. 5 picks to win $1,000, 5-pick flex, different payouts. I'm just taking what's mathematically optimal. You'll notice on underdog, I'm always taking 3-pick or 5-pick entries, because that's when you're getting the best implied juice. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. Again, I'm tracking profit and loss for anything not promo related, not fantasy related, because I consider that to be cheating, fantasy. And, well, it's just not sports betting, so I didn't want to include it in the positive EV sports betting thing, because fantasy, a lot of people don't consider it sports betting. And then no promos, because a lot of these promos are literally designed to give you free money. And again, the market's dynamic, so you can always look for good plays, sort for the books you use, refresh, use all of the different betting tools kind of on OddsJam. And there's tons of different ways to see this data presented to you to make it actionable. Like, this is a play I want to be on. I'm going to go bet it right after this video. Let's make money.